Hello there everyone. Today we're gonna tie this. This is probably the easiest and most simple way to tie a polychaete worm. This is basically also a way you can tie a very fast, very easy woolly bugger that would work for, for a leech pattern or something along those lines as well. It's fairly simple. It's composed of very inexpensive materials, and it casts and it fishes really well. So in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make probably the least expensive and easiest to tie worm, or if you just do it in all black, it would be a leech. So stay tuned, and now we're going to tie this fly. And of course, remember, as always, you can buy all the materials to this fly and probably any other fly that you wish for with the materials bought from our shop. Our shop is called Nordic Anglers. I'm Daniel D. Holm, and today we're going to do this. I'm just going to call it the worm. So now we're ready to tie the actual fly. As I said, this is a very easy way of tying something along the lines of a leech pattern or a polychaete worm. You can use this for the same things that you use the woolly bugger for, and you can change the color scheme of this to fit any of the needs that you have. Here in Denmark we have a lot of polychaete worms, and for imitating those, this color scheme works really well. So it's the easiest, the fastest way of making a good looking cheap worm that just really works well. So the first thing we need is of course a hook. We're going to tie this on the Ahrex NS 118, the classic streamer in size 4. The size 6 would work as well, but I like my worms big. if you can say that. Okay, then I add a small 4mm copper bead to this. You can use a black one as well. That would do nicely. But I like the copper for this color scheme. So basically, I just apply some tying thread here. We don't need this to be very thoroughly covering the hook, because we're going to cover the hook with some body as well, some dubbing as well, in order to give this a bit more bulk. And so that's going to be the base for the rest of the fly. Now we need a tail for this, and for this tail we want something that is a mix of two colors. We want some olive and we want some brown marabou. So what basically I do is I take a bundle of these olive fibers here, and I pull them off the feather, so that I have kind of a bundle here of the olive. This is a bit much, but this will do nicely. So I put this off to the side, a bit away from myself, so I don't accidentally cough on it or or laugh or just blow it away. Then I take the brown, and the brown here, my brown here is slightly longer, so I'm just gonna cut away some of this, so I have a bundle of brown as well in between my fingers. I'm gonna gather this like so, so I have a nice bundle there as well. And then I'm going to put this on top of the olive bundle. So I have the brown on one side and the olive on the other side. And then I'm going to try to mix this up by actually turning it on top of one another. And basically just mixing these two colors in between one another. Pulling them apart, turning it over, and putting them back together. So now I have the olive and the brown mixed in between one another, and then I'm going to tie this down all the way down towards the hook bend. There we go. So that's the tail part. Then I'm going to hold this here, and then I'm going to tie on top of it as far up the hook shank as I can, and then use a bit more tying thread to really get this tied properly down. There we go. But as you can see, there is a portion up here, part of the hook here, where there is no material. So I'm just going to take some of the stuff that's just lying around, because this is a really messy fly to tie. You're going to have a lot of mess going on here. So be sure to tie more than one at a time, or tie this outside, or have your vacuum cleaner close at hand, because this is going to be, it's a fairly messy fly to tie. It's easy, it's inexpensive, but it's also messy. Oh, now I have my tail. Then I'm going to make a fairly large dubbing loop here, maybe about 20 centimeters. Tie my dubbing loop down, make the thread go around the dubbing loop one time to secure it, and then I'm going to hang my dubbing loop to the side. take my tying thread all the way up to the bead. And now I'm going to make the dubbing. So what we want to do here is we want to mix some marabou with some flesh fibers. So 2 different colors of marabou and some purple or blue or whatever taint, whatever color fits the polychaete worms from where you're fishing. So basically what I do is I rip off some of the brown marabou here. Then I place them in a bundle over here. I take some of this purple flesh dubbing. I put it on top of the stack as well. And then I take the olive marabou and pull some of the fibers off there. Again, I want a bit more brown than I want olive for the Danish variation of this. And then basically I pull this apart and then put it on top of itself and pull it apart, turn it over and put it on top. Pull it apart, turn it over, put it on top. Pull it apart and so on. I guess this will mix up the dubbings. So and the marabou fibers and everything. So you have kind of like a nice ball of dubbing. But it also leaves a terrible mess. So if you haven't got one of these a waste basket on your vise already, I highly recommend that you get one. These can latch onto your fly tying vise and they will save some of this for you, but not all of it. The next thing is I'm going to take my dubbing loop here. I'm going to hold it open with my I don't know what this is called, the finger you point with, your pointing finger, I guess. And then with the middle finger, you can either open the loop or you can close the loop. Then I take some of the dubbing here. And I try to put some of this in here and then gradually divide it or distribute it evenly into the dubbing loop here. And again, you can see it's just raining marabou and flesh dubbing here on on my shirt. But that's just how this fly is. As I said, it's also a very good way of tying an inexpensive woolly bugger, because you can do this with basically just black marabou, and then you have a really great imitation of an eel. No, not eel, but leech. Leech is what I was looking for. Now you can see I have about 12 centimeters of this, and ideally I want this to taper so I have less material here as close to the hook as possible, and then gradually it becomes more and more material. Then I take my dubbing reel, put it into the loop, hold everything together, and then I spin the dubbing reel. And this, as you can see, is quite messy as well. So there we go. And now you can see we can pull out some of the dubbing if you want. We have something that is really shaggy looking, and this will give us a great body for the rest of the fly. There is marabou all over, but that's just the name of this game. Then I basically just turn this. And because you do it like this, this is going to be a very durable fly as well. It's going to be strong, it's going to be durable, it's going to be easy to tie, and it's going to last for a long time. So if your hook doesn't rust on you, then the only thing that can kill this fly is trout's teeth. So and even those will have a tough time with all the with getting all the dubbing out of this here fly, because you have made it into a strong dubbing loop. The thread I'm using is the Vevus GSP thread, which is also a fairly strong thread. So even on that account, I'm still ahead. If you want, you can add a soft hackle, a brown soft hackle, maybe a whiting Brahma hackle would look good on this, or a big partridge hackle, something like that, or a brown hen hackle. Would look nice, but I don't want to do that on this fly, because this fly is designed to be as cheap as possible, as fast to tie as possible, and as easy to tie as possible. So it would look better on Instagram and stuff like that with a hackle up in front, but this fly is not for Instagram. This fly is for catching trout. So we're gonna skip that one. Now you can see you have this really shaggy looking fly. It has a lot of bulk to it, and it just moves really amazingly in the water. So we can brush out a bit more of the dubbing here all the way along, and then we can brush some of it back. But basically, there's not need to do much about this because it is actually done and ready to go fishing. You have the knot hidden behind the bead as well. So the bead is gonna protect the fly. You don't need to mess about with varnish, and it's just overall just easy, fast, and fishing really well. So this is a fly designed to fish, not to catch the eye of a fisherman. This is a go-to pattern. This is a pattern that's made to fish, to catch fish, for those who want to have an efficient, easy, and cheap pattern to go to for all your trout streamer fishing. There it is. I'm just calling it the worm. But as I said, in black, this would be really nice as well for a woolly buggerish feel. And you can, of course, add an orange tungsten bead if you want this to fish even deeper, or you can leave out the flesh dubbing. Then it's basically just black marabou if you want a leech pattern. Fast, easy, simple, and cheap. Marabou is probably the most versatile and best single fly tying product out there. And if I could only choose one single fly tying material to have to tie flies for all my fishing, then I would choose marabou. Bucktail is a pretty close second, but I would choose marabou. So the worm, done and ready to go fishing. As always, you can buy the full material kit for this fly, and we have just an amazing amount of other fly tying material at our website. It's called Nordic Anglers. If you haven't done so already, it would mean a lot to us if you would subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, take care out there, and good luck out on the water. Thanks for watching.